Call Allah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Kakadash. Honor to the brothers that teaching this truth of as the ministers of the new covenant, the real truth of Yahweh Shai, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai Mashiach. You go to the book of St. Matthew, chapter 10 and 5, paraphrase. Go not into the way of the Gentiles, nor enter into the cities of the Samaritans and the United, just paraphrasing. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and go preaching the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's what the Lord started with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai commanded his men to do. Preach the kingdom of heaven. Okay? So if you're not preaching the kingdom of heaven, you're all the Antichrist. But just to stay on course, this lesson today is to prove to the elect that is mixed among these one-West camps that storm with their so-called apostles, which are the apostles of spiritual demon Satan, which they are apostles of spiritual demon Satan, Manas Abacus. Okay? They are storm with Tahar, they are the chief, he is the chief prince. Okay? And Gabal and Ramla and Rikal. Okay, now storm with them. So what they are saying, what they are teaching is that beyond all the other madness that they teach, one of the things that they said is you can call Yahweh Shai as Lucifer. You know, King Solomon was a warlock. You see how they take righteousness and they'll try to turn it into wickedness. You see, and they'll say spiritual demon Satan, he's doing his job. He's righteous. He's doing what the Lord told him to do. You see, Judas Iscariot, he was doing what he was supposed to do. See, you see how they take the wicked and they'll try to flip-flop it around. They'll take the wicked or the wicked and make them righteous, and the righteous and make them wicked. Y'all need to pay attention to what these men are doing. And when the true men of the Lord, which is the ministers of the new covenant, the true ministers of the new covenant, we come in the stead of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. The Lord is a man of war, and Yahweh is his name. So these men, they'll take righteousness and they'll flip it around and they'll make the righteous wicked and the wicked righteous. Especially when Satan doing his job. He's righteous. He's the son of the Lord, Yahweh. Judas Iscariot, he's not a bad guy. You know, they say all these things. But these should be the red flags to show you that these niggas are they dad of the devil. We're going to prove it. And I'm going to rant for a second or two, but I'm going to get into it. You know, these are these same wicked scribes and Sadducees and Pharisees from the days of old. Coming back in their life. And see, I'm going to say this for the elect among these people, these wicked men. When you, especially the ones of you are new to this doctrine, when you see us, when I mean us, the true ministers of the new covenant, constantly battling with these wicked sons of Satan, spiritual demon Satan, Manas Abacus, starting with the one West camp, start with GMS. It's a purpose behind it. It's a reason behind it. Because we are battling for your lives. We are in a spiritual warfare. So we have to show you who's evil and who's good. These being our wickedness here. So to get into it, it's not going to take long. For those that have spiritual ears and spiritual eyes to see, let them hear. Meaning, let them have understanding. May the spirit of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai and the Rakakwadash be upon you to be able to receive this lesson on what I'm going into. These men say that, and the main topic is exposing their lies. They say that the war in heaven has happened already, and they say that Revelation 12, and you go to verse 7, start at verse 7, and talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. See, Esau, Edom, he is the damn devil that the Bible speaks of. He's one of the white Hawashai vessels. But that scripture is not talking about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So we're going to figure out, we're going to find out today that these men are liars. So what I'm going to do is to prove that Revelation, the 12th chapter, is not talking about the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. It's talking about spiritual demon Satan, minus a Bacchus. Literally, spiritual demon Satan. But I'm going to start with 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter first. This is talking about Esau, Edom, and the European nations, meaning NATO and EU and the other nations that's following him, starting with Babylon the Great, which is America. And the other nations are going to fall in line with them. This scripture is talking about them. So we're going to prove it through the scriptures that Revelation, the 12th chapter, around the 7th verse, is not talking about Esau. But this scripture here, this chapter, 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, I'm going to read it to verse from 1 to 16. Okay, so keep in mind, Revelation 12th chapter, the war in heaven is something totally different than 2nd Ezra 13th chapter. This chapter here is talking about the European nation, NATO and EU, and the other nations that follow suit. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, I'm going to read to verse 16. And it come, and after the 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea. And they're talking about coming through the firmament when you have waters above the firmament. Okay? And when they're talking about the sea. And that it moved all the way thereof. And when you look at the sky, you see blue. That's like the sea. It's water. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens. And he turned his countenance to look. And all the things trembled that were seen under it. And that man waxed strong. This is going into Yahushua Mashiach. When you see it's talking about a huge chariot. If you've seen, what is that? I can't think of the name of the movie right now, but Will Smith was in it. It'll come to me, and it was that city size. It was a chariot. It was so huge when it broke through the clouds. That represented that chariot that Yahushua HaMashiach is going to fly in on, which the world called UFOs. Okay? And lo, that man waxed strong, and that man he's talking about is Yahushua HaMashiach, with the thousand of heavens, mean innumerable angels that's coming with him, including Michael the Archangel, which is translated Michael Allah, who is like God, or who is like Yahweh. What's the name of that daggone movie? If I wouldn't have said it, but it'll come to me. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under it. And it means when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under it. And, you know, when that great chariot come, the whole world, the whole earth is going to tremble. You know, I had a vision. You know what? Actually, it wasn't a vision a few years ago. I was laying in my bed wide awake, and I heard this still, calm voice in my mind, which is in my heart. I'm thinking, I'm just laying there listening, and I heard this voice say, he said, when I return, I'm going to speak in the Hebrew tongue. But it said it in a calm, still voice. And once that voice uttered that sound to me, I heard and I felt my bed. The whole earth shook. So when Yahushua HaMashiach returned, the chariot is going to cause earthquakes. to take place. Okay? All the things trembled that were seen under it. And I had a chance to witness that. Keep this in mind. This chapter is talking about from verse 1 to 16. Was it 16? 16. This is talking about starting with Esau, Edom, the NATO and the EU, and the other nations that are going to join forces with him. Now, this is talking about Esau. But keep in mind, Independence Day. That's the name of that movie, Independence Day. Will Smith was on when that chariot broke through them clouds. See, Esau, Edom, he show you these things and similitudes, But anyway, it's not about that. So let me stick to the script. Well, the name of the movie, Independence Day. But this chapter, 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, is talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, which he is one of the damn devils that the Bible speaks of. All right? In verse 4, went over, the voice went out of his mouth. All they that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth, it filleth the fires. And what this saying is, when Yahweh shall return, Hamashiach, he's going to, not only the chariot that he's going to be in, it's going to be innumerable angels with the smaller chariots going to come from that father ship, and they're going to be shooting fire. And Yahweh shall also, Hamashiach, going to also call fire from heaven mixed in with the chariots shooting laser beams to destroy Babylon the Great, which is America. But not just America, all hell going to break loose across the four globes of the earth. A Salaki, across the four corners of the earth. So this chapter is talking about Esau, Edom, and the heathen nations. Keep in mind, this video is about to prove these devils, the wicked scribes, Pharisees, and Sadducees of GMS. Let me, I want to speak on something before I continue to go on. They attack the brothers from Mississippi, Jackson, Rumla. You call them, what you call them? Mississippi maniacs. Not just you, but the rest of you sucker. But right now I'm talking to you, Rumla. You call the brothers Mississippi maniacs. But you know what? I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game. You like to talk shit? I like to talk shit. Hey, man. You keep up with that bullshit, the Lord gonna destroy your ass. You dealing with the true men of the Lord. Anybody that think like you. In verse 5, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that come from the sea. So now, this is when the heathen nations, starting with the European Union, NATO and EU, which is the same thing, and the other nations combined together in the World War III to try to fight against Yahweh Shah Mashiach. This is what they're talking about. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was a gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that come from the sea. And this is a battle of Armageddon. Okay, Yahweh Shaphat, meaning the Most High judgment. Okay, so now this is talking about these nations, starting with Esau, Edom. This chapter here is talking about these men, literally men. Okay, what they try to say is the war in heaven. They say this is the war in heaven, but it's not the war in heaven. See, this scripture here, this chapter, is speaking on what they call a war in heaven, where they try to link it up with Revelation 12 and 7, saying that the war in heaven hadn't happened yet. But I'm going to say that. But this is what they say is the war in heaven. I'm going to explain it to prove them to be liars. This is here literally talking about men trying to fight Yahweh Shah HaMashiach and Michael the Archangel and the other innumerable angels. In verse 5, I'm going to start over again. This I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, which is these, start with NATO and EU and other nations, join themselves together to try to fight against the angels with their space force and their other military, whether it would be Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, and their space force. From the four winds of heaven to subdue that man to come out of the sea. Okay, we already established that. Yahweh Salak Mashiach is coming through the firmament. When you see all the blue in the sky when it's a pretty day, there's water. So there's the sea it's talking about. But I would have seen the region. No, Salaki, sorry about that. Verse 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain. And that great mountain he's talking about is, like I just spoke, crap. I can't think of that movie. So I just said it, but my mind is kind of foggy. I'm kind of sleepy. Independence Day. Well, Independence Day, Will Smith, when you see that big chariot break through them clouds, this is what this is representing. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. This is that huge chariot that Yahweh Shah Mashiach is coming in on. But beheld, and lo, okay, in verse 7. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this, I beheld, and lo, all they which gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and they did fight. So these are the men that Yahweh Shah Mashiach was fighting against. Now these are men, starting with Esau, Edom. Keep that in mind. The great battle at Armageddon, Yahweh Shaphat, which is meaning Yahweh judgment, that is going to happen. But this is talking about men. But I'm reading this first to get to the point in Revelation, the 12th chapter, around the 7th verse, to show you that these men are trying to protect their daddy, spiritual demon Satan, Moses Abacus. They saying that Revelation, the 12th chapter, is talking about Esau, which is the war in heaven. That's not what it's talking about. So they try to equate this. They try to equate this chapter with Revelation, the 12th chapter, which it don't have anything to do with it. It's two different battles. Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, Revelation, 12th chapter, is two different battles, and we're going to prove it. In verse 9, and lo, let me see. Okay. And verse 8 again. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, but they did fight. These are the European Union, the NATO and EU nations, and the other nations that link up with them to try to fight Yahweh Shah Mashiach and Michael the Archangel. In verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that come, so these nations tried to, try to get physical with Yahweh Shah Mashiach, but they had no idea who they were dealing with, and Michael the Archangel and the other angels. He neither lift up a hand. See, Yahweh Shah, they're not from this world. We're not from this world. They didn't have to, it was effortless for them to fight against these men. This talking about men now. Starting with Esau, Edom, and the other nations, and the heathen nations. They try to collectively come together to fight against Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Okay, when he appears to clouds. He neither lifted up a hand, nor held sword, nor instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire. He shoot laser beams. They shoot laser beams out of the chariots, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue cast out sparks and tempests. Okay, so this is going into the laser beams. This war here is talking about men fighting against celestial, extraterrestrial beings. Spiritual fighting against the carnal and physically. Okay? In verse 11. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. Back into Esau, Edom military. And this is talking about Esau. And burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only the smell of dusty smoke. When I saw this, I was so afraid. Okay? I'm going to read verse 12. And afterward, and afterward saw I the man that come down from the mountain, which is that great chariot, the huge chariot what the world even called UFOs, and called unto him a peaceable multitudes. So I'm going to finish it. Okay? And there came much people unto him, wherefore some were glad, some were sorry. The glad one was us, the elect. We're going to be glad because we accepted his covenant on this side. We won't wait for a spiritual body to receive the new covenant, the tenets, and the way of Yahweh Shai, converting our mind, changing it into spiritually contract or spiritual covenant, meaning agreeing with his doctrine that he brought with him when Yahweh sent him to preach, to bring to us, and we preaching that to the multitudes. So, and that afterward he came down from the mountain and called a peaceable multitude, and there came much people unto him, wherefore some were glad, that's us, the elect, some were sorry, and some of them were bound. These are the heathens, okay, that's going into captivity, and others brought of them were offered, okay, which is going into slavery, these heathens, the heathen nation. Then I was sick through great fear, and awakened said, okay, I'm going to stop there. So now this chapter here is talking about men, Esau, Edom, in the heathen nations. So I had to pull I had to read these scriptures, this chapter, 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. Now, this is talking about men, starting with Esau, Edom. Now, we're going to go to, in Revelation, let me speak on it for a second. Then I'm going to read Revelation. This chapter here, 2nd Esdras, when Yahweh shall return, he's going to subdue all nations. When those clouds crack open, all hell's going to break loose. Everybody going to be subdued. All the heathen nations, they don't stand a fucking chance. It's going to be fucking it. When Yahweh shall show his face, all the nations can forget it. Get ready for captivity. Get ready for death and destruction. This is what this chapter is talking about. When Yahweh shall show his face, ain't going to be no more talking. Esau, Edom going to be out of power. He's going to be finished. And all the other heathen nations. Now we're going to get into Revelation, the 12th chapter. Aram Loud, you like to talk shit? The Lord going to destroy your ass, man. You too, Tahar and Gabar, misleading the flock. Y'all dirty low-down dogs. Y'all leading the flock astray on purpose. You think y'all gonna get away with it? Lord got something for y'all dirty low-down grime asses, man. Man, y'all some dirty low-down dogs, man. Y'all misleading the flock on purpose. And then when we have other men trying to come against us for going off on y'all and exposing y'all for the dirty low-down dragons, the baby dragon that y'all are, trying to put everything on Esau, Edom, but it started with you. Now let's go to the book of Revelation to show them that they're some damn liars. They saying that the war in heaven ain't happened yet. And they trying to say that Esau, Edom, this is talking about Esau, Edom. This ain't talking about Esau, Edom, and we're fixing to find out if we're talking about Esau, Edom. They saying the war in heaven hasn't happened yet. Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, is talking about Yahweh Shai and Michael, archangels, fighting against these heathen nations. When Revelation 12, it talks about something totally different. We're going to prove it, that it's talking about spiritual demon Satan, y'all daddy, who y'all trying to uphold. Ye owe your father the devil. Time permits, I'm going to read that scripture. Now let's go to, you know what? Let me read, you know what? Let me read this first. I'll come back to that. Let's go to St. John. Let's go to St. John, the 12th chapter. Then I'll come back and finish it off. Got two more scriptures to prove. Let's go to St. John 12. I don't want to make it too long. How far I want to take it? 33. You see, 12 and 30. 33. Look. Now, Yahushua had to do this. He had to do this first. See, Yahushua had to die to death. See, when I'm going to read the scripture. When Yahushua died to death, before Yahushua died to death, spiritual demon Satan had access to and fro to the heavens. He was able to go back into the heavens and back to earth. But the whole purpose of Yahushua, when he said it is finished, see, I don't want to put a lot of scripture because I want to keep it short as possible. When Yahushua said it is finished, when he gave up the ghost, he cut spiritual demon Satan access off from being able to go to and fro. And spiritual demon Satan got cast down. Now he's dwelling in bodies. Let me read this. So I don't want to go off course. I want to keep it around at least 45, 50 minutes, then I'm going to stop it. I don't want to ramble too long. Going to the book of St. John, chapter 12, and verse 30. Then I'm going to get back to Revelation, the 12th chapter, around 7th verse. Just to prove to the elect that these damn men is lying about the war in heaven. Hadn't happened yet. It's already happened. And Yahushua answered and said, this voice come not because of me, but for your sake. So Yahweh sent Yahushua to be the ultimate sacrifice, the living sacrifice for the elect. Now is the judgment of this world, of Israel, and all the other nations. They happen to be caught up in it. But they're going to get what they got coming to them. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. See? Now, when I read Revelation, the 12th chapter, it's going to speak the same thing. Now is judgment come to this world, to the world of Israel, because our people committed the ultimate sin, the worst sin, the St. John 9th chapter, starting with the wicked scribes, Pharisees, and the Sadducees. Now if the judgment come to this world, judgment must start with the house of Israel first. Shall the prince of this world be cast out? And we're going to find out who the prince of this world is and why he got cast out. Okay, this is how he got cast out of the heavens when Yahushua Hamashiach gave up the ghost and said it is finished. Then he got cast out of the heavens. And if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. This he said signified what death he should die. So Yahushua had to die to death in order for the spiritual demon Satan to be cast out. That's the whole purpose. When you go to St. Matthew, the 2nd chapter, when you go into Herod, it was all about spiritual demon Satan had entered into his body to devour the man-child so that prophecy will be fulfilled. So he understood that spiritual demon Satan, when he got cast out in the legions of angels, he entered into Herod. Herod wanted to devour the man-child to keep him from fulfilling prophecy. Because he knew once Yahushua was born and gave up the ghost, he will be cast out of heaven. Okay? Okay, now let's go to Revelation. Let's go back to Revelation to get to the nitty-gritty. Now let's go to Revelation chapter 12. We're going to get to the nitty-gritty. Let me see here. You know what? Let me read this first. I'll come back to it. Let's go to St. John 14. You know what? No, I'll stick with this because I want to make it too long. Let's go to back to Revelation 12. Now we're going to find out. We're going to show you. We're going to show you that this chapter don't have anything to do with Esau, Edom. Let me speak on it for a second. If this chapter had anything to do with Esau, Edom, I'm going to explain it first, then I'm going to read it, and then you be the judge for yourself. I'm going to start at verse 7. I'm going to read to verse 9. And then I'm going to go to verse 10 through 13. If this had anything to do, he said, Ramlab said that the war in heaven hadn't happened yet. That's what he said. Now, by his logic, if the war in heaven hadn't happened yet, you know what? So I'm going to read it. Then I'll explain it while I read it. Revelation 12 and 7. Keep in mind, he said this hadn't happened yet. He said this talking about Esau. We're going to find out if he's talking about Esau or not. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. See, they try to equate that to 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, what I just read. But these are two different battles. They try to say that, they try to link this up with 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. Now, 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter is talking about these men trying to subdue Yahushua during World War III, trying to fight against him. That is talking about men, Esau, Edom, and these other nations. Okay? But this is talking about something totally different. When, like I read 2nd Esdras 13th chapter, when Yahushua come on the scene during the Third World War, he done took every nation, he done subdued every nation. So that means when he cracked them skies open, all authority that these start with Esau, Edom, and the other nations that follow suit, they're going to be annihilated. They're going to be under submission under Yahushua Mashiach, which is going to rule with the rod of iron, which he's going to have his true men, the 144 and the 12, and the innumerable multitudes. They're going to be subdued under start with Yahushua Mashiach. Okay? Then King David started with Yahweh and on down. So once he show up on the scene, all the other nations, they're going to be subdued. Okay? Now, and there was war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. So they try to link this up with 2nd Esdras 13th chapter. But I want to show you, it's not talking about Esau. And prevailed not, neither were there place found any more in heaven. Okay? And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil, and Satan, that deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So they'll try to link that up with 2nd Esdras 13th chapter, saying that they got kicked out of heaven, so now they no longer saying rulership. But if that was so, if this chapter here, I already read 2nd Esdras the 13th chapter, I already made a distinction from Revelation, the 12th chapter, around the 7th verse, that these are two different battles. See, when Yahushua returned in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, all nations they will have no power. Okay? Now keep this in mind. Now, he was cast out into the earth, and the angel was cast out with him. And hear what they say. This Esau Edom, they've been cast out. All his stalwart NATO and EU and all his military branches, they done lost the battle, and they was cast out with him, and they'll stop there. Now this how you know this ain't talking about Esau. Now watch this. Now if that was so, if Esau was subdued by Yahushua, Hamashiach, and Michael the Archangel, that means he ain't got no more power left, right? That means he ain't got no more power. By their logic, if this was talking about Esau Edom, now if he ain't got no power left, how is he able to do this? Now watch this. Go to verse 10. This is how you know they some damn liars. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and power of Hamashiach Yahushua, for the accuser of thy brethren is cast down. See, and that goes back into St. John, the 12th chapter, around the 30th verse to the verse 33, how he being cast down. Okay, now if this was talking about Esau Edom, that means he should have no more power left. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of Hamashiach, for the accuser of thy brethren is cast down. Which, when Yahushua gave up the gold, spiritual demons say was cast down to the earth. And they dwell in our bodies. Okay? Start with the scribes, Sadducees, and Pharisees. But I want to just stick to the main point, which accused them before our God day and night. Okay? And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, which is talking about the elect, starting with the men that preaching his word and the innumerable multitudes, the large multitudes. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, meaning repenting to the new covenant, which is that blood sacrifice. Receiving the walking in the tenets and the ways of Yahushua Mashiach, renewing our minds, okay, in his doctrine, and accepting his sacrifice, no longer pretty much accepting the sacrifice of Melchizedek, no longer under the ordinance of Aaron and Moses, which is the new covenant which we have repented to. And they have overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they love neither their life unto death. Okay, now, here's the point I want to get you to show you. Now, I'm going to read verse 12 and verse 13. Now, when you go up to Revelation, the 12th chapter 7, if this was talking about Esau Edom, when Yahushua Mashiach returned, Esau don't have no more power. He taken out of the way. Now watch this. By y'all logic, he taken out of the way. He don't have no more power when you start at verse 7 and you read on down to verse 9. By y'all logic, when you try to link it up with 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Now watch this. Therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea. Now, before I finish reading it, let me speak on it. Why did it say that? Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell therein. And I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about no context, because this scripture is saying exactly what it's saying. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. So now he's telling the heavens, well, Archangel Michael and all the other angels dwell there before Yahushua gave up the ghost. Spiritual demon Satan was causing all kind of havoc and shit. That's why Yahweh Shai had to go and do his thing and come back and go up there. Because when he gave up the ghost, that fucker, that dirty low-down, slime-head dog, spiritual demon Satan, Manus and Bacchus, y'all daddy got cast down to the earth. That's why I say, so therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell therein. You see, if there was spiritual demon Satan, Salaki, if there was Esau Edom, how can, if he'd been taken out of power, how can he cause this kind of havoc when he'd been kicked out of rulership? Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, but woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast out into the earth, he ain't talking about Esau. If he was talking about Esau, by y'all logic, when Yahweh Shai Mashiach show up on the scene, and you go up to Revelation, you go up to 7th verse, if they were talking about Esau, when Yahweh Shai, when Michael the Archangel and Yahweh Shai, when you go back to 2nd Ezra 13th chapter, when they show up, Esau Edom ain't got no more power. So how can Yahweh Shai and Michael take his power from him in a few verses up? He ain't got no power. Now he got power again. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. But woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is spiritual demon Satan, Manus and Bacchus, it come down into you because he got cast out, having great wrath because he know that he have but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast out into the earth, he down here on the earth. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. You see? So now, you go back to St. Matthew, the 2nd chapter, when King Herod wanted to devour that man-child, because the same spiritual demon Satan, Manus and Bacchus, hopped on him, wanted to devour Yahweh Shai Mashiach, because he knew when he come and preach his ministries, and when he get devoured and get slaughtered as the sacrificial lamb and go back up to Yahweh, he gonna get cast down to the earth. So this is not talking about Esau Edom. It's talking about y'all daddy, spiritual demon Satan. How can he have power in verse 7? Then when you read on, if by y'all logic, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach take his power, and then you read down some 10th verse on down to 13, now he got power again. Because they're not talking about Esau in this chapter. They're talking about the spiritual demon Satan that was cast out of heaven. He no longer have access to the spirit world anymore, to the heavens. He was bound in that great chain, meaning the fleshly body. And all of the other innumerable angels that got cast out with him, they're going to die as men. So hopefully it was an edifying video. Hey man, you damn Ramla, you want to talk shit, and start with you too hard, you want to talk shit, I'm your damn Huckleberry. You want to talk shit? Come on, because that's just my game. So hopefully there was an edifying video. And to the innumerable, just say multitudes, and to the newcomers, we have to talk to these men this way. The reason we talk to them this way is because they are holding back, they are holding the elect hostage. They are working for their daddy, Salaki, not Esau Edom, spiritual demon Satan. But Esau Edom, he gonna get what he got coming to him too. But right now it's about exposing these wicked ass men for who the goddamn devil that they really are. And like Yahweh Shai say, judgment must begin in the house of Israel. Hopefully it was an edifying lesson. Shalom above all.